Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Cody here, coming at you with like a 6-week hiatus of not uploading a video. It's been a hot minute since I've seen you guys, and I'm happy to be back here doing this again. I want to start this video first off with just a huge thank you, and also kind of like a little pat on the back for yours truly here. We hit 300 subscribers on this channel, which is crazy to me, especially considering a good chunk of that subscriber count came within those last few weeks of me not posting a video. So whatever the algorithm has going on, it appears to be working. Excuse me while I just pick the lint out of my cat real quick. But that algorithm is getting these videos out to you guys to hear me talk about baseball, leagues, teams, logos, all that good stuff. So I sincerely appreciate all 300 of you, plus the subscribers that may find their way to this channel in the future. Thank you so much. Yeah, here's to 300 more, I suppose. Let's get into it. I want to highlight a league here that was requested from Mets fan, just the one Mets fan wanted to see this league. Today we're going to be looking at the Perfect Game Baseball League, a summer collegiate league based exclusively in upstate New York. I had actually been wanting to talk about this league for quite a while, and I had it on deck saved to the specific folder where I put these leagues and logos together. We'll get to that here in a little bit. You'll kind of see the dialogue that I actually had with one of these teams on Facebook, but it's been on deck for a while, and I figured this is kind of a perfect time to do it because it would been requested specifically from Mets fans. So I appreciate that, Mets fan, and all the comments that I get on these videos. I do look at every single one. I try and respond to them as timely and as appropriately as I can. If you have more leagues that you want to see down the road, just know that I welcome all of these suggestions, and more often than not, I actually have them stored on my drive to rank in the future. Marty is in a really spicy mood, apparently. Got the microphone going. So yeah, let's get into it. The Perfect Game League out of New York. Pretty unique league. It hasn't been around super long. This league was founded in 2010 in conjunction with Perfect Game USA, which is like the largest scouting network in the country, basically, for talent. But just in the decade or so that this league has existed, it's ballooned into 16 teams now. So it's doubled since its inception in 2010. So we have a lot to talk about here. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right in, as always, with what I consider the worst logo of a league to the best. And today that's going to start us off. Number 16, someone had to do it. I'm going to give that to the Socrates Stallions right here. I feel like we've talked about logos like this or seen similar logos through some of the various rankings that we've done here on this channel. It just reminds me of any like small town high school across the United States that goes by like the Mustangs or the Ponies or the Stallions or Broncos, whatever. It just kind of has that generic sort of catch-all look to it with this horse. He does look a little tough and a little fierce, but he also just looks kind of devoid of personality altogether. Just very generic looking. Also, if you look kind of close enough, the top of his mane, that gold kind of bleeds into his ear a little bit. I've seen that across various images of this logo, and I just think that that's just like an overlook that just shouldn't be there, but it is, and I'm not a fan. I gotta move on from this. At number 15, we've got the Geneva Red Wings. Now, I hate ranking this so low because I feel that there's a lot of good things going with this logo. Really, the big thing that's pulling it down for me is just this kind of gray gradient that we have across this whole thing. It gives it just an odd sort of three-dimensional look to it. I feel that that gray kind of gradient, drop shadow looking layer to this does not hold up well with the blue and the red that we have going on in the white as well. Like, those colors are kind of classic, they look good together, but that gray kind of brings like sort of a boring cloudiness to this whole thing that just makes it like, why have that at all? If we got rid of that gradient, I think this could look an awful lot better. I love the wing, and I really like the font choice as well. But yeah, that gradient, why have it at all? It's really bringing me down. I have it at 15 for a reason. At number 14, same but different. For the Red Wings, we've got the New York Pilots, which has a kind of very similar font choice and a similar kind of vibe in that we have the item of the name. So for the Red Wings, we had a Red Wing, and for the Pilots, we have a plane over a baseball. The reason this is higher is because it doesn't have a drop shadow that we saw for the Geneva Red Wings. So this gets the nod over the Red Wings, but still kind of some room for improvement. Not my favorite logo in this league by far. Next up, we've got the Niagara Power. This is simple but effective. We're getting into territory now that like I think these are actually great, and I love all these logos coming up here. This one just kind of loses me a bit because it is just a little too simple. Again, not a bad thing. I really like this, but we're gonna see a lot more like unique creative logos and interpretations coming up for the team name that these teams are representing, which alludes nicely here to the Watertown Rapids. This is really cool. We see A simple W for Watertown, but it's got a paddle and a baseball bat kind of crossing over each other to represent, you know, the team name, Rapids. Like, cool. I would associate a paddle with going on the Rapids. And I think overall this is, yeah, very effective. Not super in love with the colors is kind of my only thing here. It just looks kind of washed out and dark, and it doesn't really stand out or pop. Like, I feel like that this could benefit from some nice contrast or a little bit more just like bright saturated colors. I'm not sure I'm in love with that gray and sort of like moody blue and yeah, a lot of black here. Just kind of washes the whole thing out. But beyond that, I think everything else, the elements here, super cool. Next up, we've got the Utica Blue Socks. I like this a lot, actually. The U kind of wraps around and has a literal blue sock, which fits nicely like right before the rest of the letters, with blue socks in like a very classic baseball font in the ribbon of that A. Colors here are great too. The whole thing is blue, as the name should imply, a blue sock, with this really nice white trim around the whole thing. Like, yeah, this is great. Utica, absolutely killing it.
We're going to Utica? Uh-huh. Utica, Utica, Utica.
I'm gonna preface this by just letting you know we're about to see a really fun string of mascot characters or creatures holding up a bat. You'll see what I mean here in a second with the Mohawk Valley Diamond Dogs. There is so much to unpack in this logo here, and overall this thing is just like a chaotic mess, but it's so lovable for that reason that I had to rank this over some of those other ones that are like maybe objectively a little better. Just comically large bone for a baseball bat. Like, the thing is huge. Like the femur of like some ancient dinosaur. Diamonds everywhere. They're just all over the place. And then just this like most generic font in the world, Mohawk Valley, which does not wrap nicely in the ribbon tail coming off of the S at the end. It's just an afterthought to include Mohawk Valley there. Like, why? What is happening there? I do love that he's got like the torch from his helmet shining on this baseball that he's about to hit. That's a really fun touch for me. And overall, this thing is just like, again, chaotic, disastrous, insane, but it's so much fun and it's got a lot of personality to it. I will say some of these next ones, like the Albany Dutchman, like similar energy, and then we've got a bat swinging. It's like objectively a better logo, but again, I had more fun looking at Mohawk Valley and some of these other ones that like I have ranked lower. I might have more fun with them, but like I gotta put these higher because they're a little better. Although this Albany Dutchman one isn't like the best example in the world, because I'm not crazy about the Dutchman character to begin with. Like, he reminds me of the berries and cream guy from the Skittles commercials.
You tried these berries and cream Starburst?
Berries and cream! Oh, hurrah! Berries and cream, berries and cream. I'm a little lad who loves berries and cream. Berries and cream, berries and cream. Oh, I'm a little lad who loves berries and cream.
My back is hurting looking at his posture, right? Like, every time I see this logo, it reminds me that I need to like sit up a little bit, because like this sort of like slunched down looking, with his jaw, I don't know, man. It's just too much for me going on. I'm gonna sit up a little bit higher the rest of this video here. At number 8, we've got the Auburn Doubledays. So again, just more swinging mascot action here. This team has been around for quite a while, actually, as have like a number of the teams in this league. A lot of great history here. The Auburn team has named themselves the Doubledays in homage of Abner Doubleday, who is credited with inventing the game of baseball that's been debunked. You know, it's kind of like a myth. So this is supposed to be Abner in the Doubledays font, which is jetting upwards for some reason. If we look at some alternate logos for this team, a lot of emphasis is put on the mustache, but I looked up Abner Doubleday and his mustache doesn't look anything like this. I don't know why the mustache got all the focus here. I think there was a huge missed opportunity here to not focus on the hair, because my guy is like absolutely nailing that Princess Leia look. I gotta move on to the Boonville Lumberjacks. Okay, so this is what I was alluding to earlier when I was talking about like I wanted to talk about this league a lot sooner. I actually put that train into motion back in September of 2022, because I reached out to this team on Facebook knowing good and well that this team used to be called the Trailblazers, but they were very sneaky and quiet about changing their team name, because at one point on Facebook they just changed their profile picture to the Boonville Baseball Club, and there was no more mention of the Trailblazers whatsoever. So it took a few months, but they finally reached out at the beginning of this year. Cody, thank you for asking. We're a new team owned by former Utica owner for 13 years, new logo, new name, spread the word, BoonvilleLumberjacks.com. So there you have it. We're the Boonville Lumberjacks now. So we went from this brawny looking gentleman in red to this brawny looking gentleman in green, and it looks infinitely cleaner. It's a lot nicer. This looks fantastic, and I'm about it. This looks really nice. BoonvilleLumberjacks.com, spread the word, maybe proofread your messages. That's all I'm gonna say. Thank you, Boonville, for finally solving that mystery once and for all. At number 6, we've got the Batavia Muck Dogs. Just like, feel really mean right now for insulting Boonville and their PR people. Yeah, the Muck Dogs. Super cool team, been around forever. They were originally, like in 1939, I think is when they were created, known as the Batavia Clippers. Take a wild guess on what the affiliation was for the Clippers there. But they changed it to the Muck Dogs back in the 90s, and I'm a huge fan of this. I think it looks fantastic. A lot of personality on that Muck Dog with the big, shiny, goofy teeth. It is very cartoony, but it works for me, and points for originality and creativity. It's a unique name, very unique logo, but it couldn't quite crack the top 5 for me. Those honors are gonna begin with the Jamestown Tarp Skunks. And I have to give a big shout out to baseballmapper.com, one of my favorite websites to just sort of browse in my free time. This is actually how I learn about a number of teams and leagues and logos that I didn't know about. So if you go on to baseballmapper.com, I think they have like a partnership with the Tarp Skunks here from Jamestown, because it's one of the first things you see where you can like buy some merch, but then if you click into the map itself as well, you can see that the Jamestown Tarp Skunks logo really kind of stands out there. Big shout out, Baseball Mapper. Check them out at baseballmapper.com. Again, I look at that website all the time, and it brought me to the Tarp Skunks. Now, this is actually a fairly new team. The team in Jamestown used to be known as the Jammers, and they moved to Morgantown, West Virginia to become the West Virginia Black Bears a few years ago. So Jamestown was left without a team for a few years, and in 2020, we got the Tarp Skunks. And yeah, very unique name for sure. I'll be honest, this is the first logo that we've seen so far in this ranking that looks like a legitimate minor league logo. This has the polish and the kind of legitimacy. I hate to use that term, but like this looks like a minor league logo. This definitely had the budget going in to design a professional looking logo. And I think overall it looks great, but big but coming up here, the kind of piss yellow doesn't do it for me at all. I can't get over that. I'm sorry. That's maybe a gross term to use, but it's like, ooh, just not crazy about that color choice. Very neon looking. Also, the skunk itself looks great objectively, but it just doesn't have as much like personality to it as some of these other characters that we've seen and some other ones that we will see, including the Outlaws coming up here at number 3. I really like this one. I'm a huge fan of the colors. I'm a huge fan of the layers where we've got like black, then white, then black, then orange again. It looks really nice with these kind of drop shadows. The Outlaw in the negative space of the O is fantastic, as well as the font choice itself. It's very kind of Western, and it really matches the sort of vibe going on here. We can see a train with baseballs coming out of it, like where the steam should be. I think it would have been very easy just to take this piece in the negative space there and just make that the logo itself, but they added extra detail to it, and overall, like this looks awesome. I'm a huge fan of those colors too. Like this really just pops out at you. Huge fan. Huge fan. Next up, we've got the Elmira Pioneers. This team has such a soft spot in my heart. Like checking out their Wikipedia page here, this team was founded in 1885, and they've been playing at Dunn Field since it broke ground in 1938. The field itself is kind of a legendary, iconic field in the state of New York. I'm just a huge fan of the history of this team and of Dunn Field. I would really love to go see it in person someday and check out a game. But I mean, just getting back to this logo itself, like this is what I mean when I say that I want kind of the characterization, the personality, the intensity from some of these logos that like Jamestown, while that looked great, it was just kind of lacking, but this has it. That guy looks intense as hell. And I think that this logo does a great job of sort of preserving some of the history within this team. Like this it looks like an old logo because it's an old team, but it doesn't have that goofy, like two-dimensional, flat, cartoony look to it. I'll show you an example of that here in a minute of what I'm talking about, but it's not all roses and sunshine. I hate the color of the font. The clashingness of the colors of the red, white, and blue for the text really throwing me off. So it's not 100% perfect overall. This is a solid A logo for me. Love it. I really almost went with this for number 1, but there was a lot of debate. Number 2, we've got the Amsterdam Mohawks. And getting back to what I was mentioning a little bit ago, I found an old logo of this, like yikes, right? This is insane. This is just very flat, goofy, two-dimensional, cartoony. Did not stand the test of time. So they've, it's since obviously been rebranded and reworked, and now we have this logo here, which is so great in so many ways. This mohawked baseball has so much personality to it. This isn't taking itself too seriously, but it does take itself that right amount of seriousness where, yeah, everything works for me. Black, red, and white, look great. Very sleek color combination here. There's absolutely nothing negative I can say about this logo, but there's one that I liked a little bit better, and that's gonna be the Glen Falls Dragons. Green and red, main colors going on here. Those are complementary colors. They look great here. Everything really pops. And that, you know, the white of the baseball and the white of his eyes, his claws, the teeth, and Glen Falls just add this nice trim to everything. The D and the S and the lettering have this cool, like, kind of serif on the end there that is very sleek, and it's very aggressive looking in like the perfect amount of way. The dragon itself, scary, intimidating, crazy looking dragon. Huge fan of this. Very deserving of a #1 spot. Celebrating our 300th subscriber with the Glen Falls Dragons. Again, I want to give a really big thank you and a special shout out to Mets Fan for helping me bring this logo back to the front of my brain. It's one that I've been wanting to talk about for a while, and I'm glad we finally got a chance to get it out. By the time you're watching this, your Mets will have started a series with my Pirates, so wish you all the very best. But respectfully, I hope you lose every single game for at least the rest of the weekend. Thank you very much, as always, guys. If you enjoyed this content, be sure and drop a like, comment down below. Let me know which logos are your favorite, least favorite. By the way, this league like just started play at the beginning of June, so really hoping for the best for the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League. If you want to find out more about this league, I'll link their website in the description, so be sure and check them out and catch some of these teams on the road. Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for clicking. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you in the next video.